Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. I am in the place of God. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide you and your children. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. This is what he said. What you intended for evil, God intended for good. Huge change in Joseph's life now. A huge change of his heart. His character has now changed. He is no longer a prideful young man anymore. Now he has a tender and kind heart for his brothers and says, what you intended for evil, God intended for good. I've often asked myself in times of trials and tribulations in my life, why is this going on? Why is this happening? Why are these things happening in my life? And I look back now and I realize that God was building a good character in my life in those times. He was building and preparing me for something more. So I ask you, what do you do in times of famine? What do you do when you go to your barn and there's no grain there? What do you do when you go to your bank account and there's nothing there? What do you do in times of hope and despair? I think Habakkuk, or Habakkuk, depending on how you pronounce it, I believe Habakkuk said it best. Let's look at Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk chapter 3. What do you do in times of non-produce? Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 17. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though there are no sheep in the pen and no cattle in the stalls. In other words, even though life is despair right now, even though I have nothing in my barn, what he's saying is, even though I don't have a bank account, even though I don't have what I need. Verse 18, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God my Savior. Some translations say the God of my salvation. The one who's given me everlasting life. I will trust and rejoice in him. In other words, he's saying this, if he can save me, he can take care of my olive trees and my produce and my wheat and my corn and my cattle and my sheep. He is my God of salvation. He is in control of my life. Because he is the God of my salvation. It shows in Joseph, right? Even though Joseph was going through a time of trials, it says God was with him. God is with you. I tell you today, God is with you. You may sit here tonight and say, I have a wayward child, or this morning say, I have a wayward child that just won't listen to what I say. They turn their back on God. They're living a life of immorality. You may say, I've just lost my job. I don't know where tomorrow's money is going to come. I don't know if we're going to have enough food to eat tonight. You may say, Phil, my house burned down last week, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to survive. I tell you, rejoice in your times of trials and tribulations, because God is your God of your salvation. He is with you to the bitter end. He has matched you step for step along beside you. And I tell you, folks, today, in those times of trouble, he carries you through that. Joseph God built a better character and a better heart in Joseph's life because of his trials. For each person, it may be different. He may be building something different with you. But I'm here to share you the hope. Trust and rejoice in the God of your salvation, because he is with you to the bitter end. Can we have Lori, can you come and play? You guys we're going to sing a song real quick. I want you to think while you're singing. Where am I at right now in my life? What's going on in my life? What are the trials I'm going through? While you're singing, use this time to give it over to the Lord and say, God, you are with me now, you were with me yesterday, and you will be with me tomorrow, and I will rejoice in you because you're my God of salvation.